at symbol JOR. There you go.
Oh. We're good.
All right, good morning. Jordan Nielsen here, host of the Real Estate Pro Show on Lister Pros TV. Today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Seth Banda. We've been giving him some grief for and getting him on the show over the last week or so it's been fun. But thanks for joining us. You're in your realm here, because for those that don't know who Seth is, he's actually been a DJ for quite some time, right? You still are a DJ.
Yeah, I still do it. It started in 1999, man.
Oh,
so,
wow. So you're a veteran. What do you think of the headphones and the mics? And
Love it.
The music needs some revamping.
Yeah, I like the music, man.
I can't mix like you, man. That'd be cool. Next time we'll bring out some mixer boards here.
Yeah.
Anyway, so on today's episode, we're going to be talking about helping agents look good throughout the transaction. That's kind of the common theme of the conversation we'll be having. But first, we'll let you introduce yourself and tell us how you got into the real estate business.
Sure, absolutely. So thanks. Well, first, thanks for having me on the show.
Sure,
man.
yeah.
This place is absolutely awesome.
Thanks.
I'm stoked. Let's see here. Been in the industry since 2013, so I just celebrated my 4th year anniversary in the industry. So I got the job at Empire West doing title and escrow.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of fell into my sister-in-law is in the industry. She said, "Hey, I think you would love this gig. That seems right up your wheelhouse. You would enjoy it." And at first I said, "No way. I'm happy where I'm at." I was doing
you were doing like golf courses or something.
Yeah,
I remember that.
I was selling sand. So selling sand in a desert. But
no shortage of sand here.
Absolutely. I wasn't interested, and then she said, "You really need to do it." So I talked with the vice president of Empire West, and I loved what I heard and the potential. And then I got the job offer on my birthday, actually, May 13th, 4 years ago. And so on June 3rd, started up, and it's been going ever since. So absolutely love it.
I think I've known Seth since you started, right?
Oh.
Because right when you started, right around that time, you came into Treehouse Realty.
Yeah.
When we were buying for hedge fund, we were using Luann Pulver.
Yep, absolutely.
Who's your mother-in-law, right?
No, that's actually so my wife and Shalise Narducci are brother and sister, and Shalise she's my sister-in-law, but through marriage, and her mom is Luann Pulver.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's kind of complicated. But
gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
So there's family. She's family, but in a roundabout way.
Sure.
So
all right, so that's how you got in the business. So let's talk a little bit about. Actually, let's talk about some misconceptions about title companies. I think sometimes people don't see not necessarily the value that title companies bring, but talk to us a little bit about what title company, why it matters who you choose as a title company and why it matters.
Yeah, I mean, so there's a misconception or even just lack of understanding what a title company is. So.
Title, what do you guys do?
Exactly.
It just sounds like, all right, title? What do you do? Write somebody's name?
Do I need title? Why do I have those extra fees on here? And,
correct,
and you have the buyers and sellers who are saying like, well, can we get around this? And the answer really is no, right? So title and escrow is a company that you hire out that is a third neutral party that works between the two real estate agents, or more importantly, the person who's selling the property. Mm-hmm. And the people who are buying the property. And so title and escrow is that third neutral party, make sure that everybody who is selling the property has the rights to actually sell that property, right? There's no liens, there's no things that would impede the process, right? And so some people are saying, hey, I'm going to sell this house. Well, maybe it's not your house to sell. It's not your land to sell kind of deal. And there's somebody attached to that title. And so that's what a title company does is they ensure that everything is kosher on both sides, and then the people who are buying the property, same thing. And then the third portion of that is the insurance that we provide for that. So in case there's anything that's missed, the people who bought or sold are protected in that process. So
have you seen particular instances where it has been an issue or with title, or in general In general, it's probably not too many issues, but sometimes there could be like tax liens or different things.
Yeah.
Obviously, you don't want to buy a car, pay cash for it, and then find out there's a lien on it, by a bank, and then, you really don't own the house. So that obviously that's part of your guys' role in the house.
Correct. Yeah, and that's the thing is we go back and we'll ensure that whole process. So if something was done wrong or wasn't found, that's where your title insurance comes in play, and that's usually where the company that's handling it will say, hey, let's get this fixed. In my time, in the 4 years I've been here, I haven't seen anything that has been generated by my company, right? In the sense that, like let's say I was working with you as a real estate agent, I haven't seen anything later on where you call me up and say, hey, Seth, my clients are saying that they received this letter or whatever it may be. But I have seen stuff that had happened 10 years ago or 12 years ago that never been caught, kind of deal. And then now the light is kind of being brought to light. So nothing in particular that stands out, but you hear them all the time, and that's why it's important to have it.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, yep, it's a third neutral party too. So like there's once again
so it's not like you're siding with the seller side or the buyer
Yeah.
side. It's good to have that neutral party just to make sure everything.
Yeah, I mean, they literally are taking orders where one real estate agent says, hey, this is the contract that we have written up, and then the other real estate agent says we agreed to this contract, and they're representing both the buyers and sellers. And as a title company, we won't say, hey, we really recommend you doing this kind of deal. It's like, no, we're just the third neutral party making sure that somebody says, hey, this is what's supposed to happen, and we execute that what's supposed to happen. And once those agreements are completed, then they release the funds.
Are there any title company disruptors? Because we know there's a lot of disruptions in real estate right now. You have a lot of these buy house direct and just different things where people are trying to, list your house for $299, like flat fee services. Although they're not like big part of the business. Are there are there things like that on the title side of the business? I'm curious.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Or any tech companies like Zillow Title that's coming in, that any speculations or anything?
That's a great question. I think sometime down the road, somebody's going to try to figure out. I mean, so I was reading a business article the other day that real estate is one of those industries that has been altered the least amount by some of the technology, right? And so we're seeing changes in the horizon, right? We're going to see a lot more paperless transactions and everything done electronically and stuff. But on the escrow side, we haven't seen too much of that yet. We haven't seen any disruptors, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's tough to foresee that just because you have that title and escrow. You have that escrow account that holds those funds, and that somebody's got to say yes, everything was perfectly done, and then those funds are released. And we haven't seen anything that's been streamlined in order to do that. Who knows though, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
who knows?
It's an interesting time. It's funny, not necessarily funny. It's just crazy to see how like protective the real estate industry is of real estate agents. It's pretty incredible because even with this Zillow instant offers came out, there's like a swarm of like comments. Oh my gosh, they're taking our,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Anyways, I just find it interesting.
Well, and the thing that's interesting about title and escrow is there's an extra layer of protection after that. Like, so even if you do a for sale by owner or FSBO,
sure,
there still has to be a title and escrow.
Yeah.
Company, right. Especially when you're dealing with a bank. I mean, that's another people don't understand that, but banks, when there's a loan involved, whether you're buying without an agent or not, buying with an agent or not, if a bank is involved, a bank's going to require title insurance, right?
Right.
So title insurance may not be required if you're making a cash offer, and so you can have two parties working stuff out. But even then, though, those people have no idea how do you transfer title, how do you do all that stuff, and so there's even an extra layer of protection with title and escrow. So, or at least it appears to be, right?
Right.
But I don't want to say that there is no innovation in title and escrow. If you talk to Luann Pulver and the way she was doing business 30 years ago, she says how crazy things are different, right? I mean, you having these paperless closings, you have stuff done. I mean, you can run a transaction practically without, with anything on your desk anymore. Well,
right.
Before they were typing things up and they were waiting for stuff to come in, and now it's all done. So it's just crazy.
So things have been streamlined, just kind of like what is it? Where the e-signatures has really streamlined the real estate process before it was fax and stuff like that. But anyways, today we wanted to talk about, how you help agents look good throughout the transaction and really helping manage the perception of the real estate agent and how you guys enhance it. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so kind of give you a role. I mean, previously talking about the title and escrow process. I know the basics, right? The general meat and potatoes of it. But if you were to ask me title and escrow questions, 90% of the time, I don't know. I don't know the answer to it.
Yeah,
We
talk
have
to
escrow
Luann.
officers. Yeah, talk to Luann. Talk to someone who knows. So my role at Empire West is I work with real estate agents and who are looking to enhance their business or to acquire business or to save time and money. Realistically, that's what it comes down to. They say, hey, I'm a people's person, but I don't know some of the elements of how do I do social media advertising, or how do I do direct mail advertising or geographic farming. And then how do I look good throughout the whole process? So that's usually when I sit down with a real estate agent, I say, hey, man, let me help you look good. And so I'm a big data guy. I look up the surveys and some of the stuff on the National Association of Real Estate Realtors website, and they talk about like the exit survey. And they ask these questions of people who close on a house. Hey, do you think your real estate agent deserve their commissions? And it's astronomical, the amount of people who said no. Right? I don't think my real estate agent deserved that. And why is that? I ask myself all the time. I sit down with my assistant and say, what is it? Why do people think that their real estate agent didn't deserve their commissions? And so I sit down and we create tools and resources to help our real estate agents eliminate that, right? That perception.
Right.
Some of them really, a lot of them, majority of them work really hard for it. But then there's those, we all know there's bad apples in every industry.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So I give this example all the time. My in-laws live in South Chandler, beautiful gated community. I think the house was going for $1.4 million. 3 or 4 houses down from there as I saw the sign. And just me as a marketing guy, I love to walk down. I love to pull out the flyer, kind of get ideas for what's going on and what looks good. And I can replicate that, or get close to it.
Yeah.
So anyways, I walk 3 houses down, this beautiful, gorgeous, custom-built home in South Chandler, pull out the flyer from the box, and it is a MLS printout, black and white, single-sided, right? And then so I thought, okay, well maybe it's a owner agent, right? The guy's also an agent. It wasn't, right? It had the real estate agent's information on there. I'm thinking to myself, this is crazy. Taking a step further.
1.3 million?
Yeah, 1.3 million. So you're thinking, okay, this guy's going to be making 40, 50,000 plus in commission, and he couldn't hire professional photographers. He couldn't hire somebody to design a decent flyer, to create luxury flyers. I mean, this is black and white paper you get at Staples kind of deal. And that's the perception that sometimes we need to eliminate. So I sit down with my real estate agents and said, let's never have that happen to you, right? Where you can say with a certainty, I hire professional photographers or a company that comes and does this. And that's what you guys do here, right? I mean, when people, when your real estate agents hire you, the homeowner's head spins. There's no way they know how to do that on their own, right? Majority of them don't. I mean, unless they're in video production.
Sure.
And so that's what we try to do is we team up with these real estate agents and we get them hooked up with companies like yourself, so that way they can say with a certainty in the end, this is why you hired me, right? And the people who were selling their house saying, there's no way we could have done this. This is why we hired you, right?
Right.
And so that's from flyers to social media to open houses, and that's beyond the negotiation portion, because it seems like a lot of times real estate agents will just say that. Why do you need a real estate agent? Well, you need somebody to represent you in your behalf. Well, it's way more than that, right? So that's
it's all, at the end of the day, it's delivering more value. Just like you saw, your example is perfect. The $1.3 million, you're about to make $40,000 on a commission, yet you're spending $3 on Staples printouts. No wonder why a homeowner would think that did they deserve their commission? Right. They obviously would say no. What value did they bring to the transaction outside of, if it took iPhone phone? I mean, obviously, and that's kind of like nothing is protecting homeowners against agents like that. That's what's interesting about this business. You can pretty much start. It's like entrepreneur business and do what you think is right.
Right.
And there's a lot of people that even say today, like, you can say it's a seller's market and, I don't need professional photography because it's, but how are you marketing yourself? How are you adding value to the transaction and earning your commission, by using somebody like yourself to get flyers and all this kind of stuff.
And the data doesn't lie, right? I mean, that's the thing is when a real estate agent sits down with their sellers and they make a comment like that, like, it's a seller's market. I heard that once we put it up, it's going to sell pretty fast. Yeah, but if we put up pictures that look pristine and it really markets the house well, then you're going to get so much
You're going to get more, yes.
And then which means you're going to have a bidding war, which means in the end, you're making more money. You're getting more money for the house that you that you want. I mean, essentially. So that's why it's important to hire somebody who knows what they're doing, who knows how to market the house right. Not just putting it on Craigslist,
Sure.
right? Puts it on all sorts of different social media avenues. Once again, you're creating a bidding war.
Right.
Right. I mean, I know that there's a cap, right? People will say, well, that doesn't really matter because it's all about how much it will price for. I get it. But still, why wouldn't you want a bunch of offers to choose from? Somebody who says, hey, look, you know what? We're going to offer this and we don't care. If we don't want you to fix anything. I mean, as opposed to 2 or 3 offers that are decent, but you get to choose. Right?
Yeah. So it's all about engaging more people and having that. It could sell. Like I said, but engaging more people, without that, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot to potentially take less money or
Correct.
whatever.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. You can get all sorts of great offers, and if you put the right pictures, the right videos, and stuff like that, you're gonna get a lot of interest.
Right. So tell us a success story of somebody that's worked with you. Sorry, this is just off the cusp here. A success story of somebody that has you've worked with. I mean, over the years, you've worked with a lot of different agents that where they've found success in using this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm a bit. Once again, I'll say it. I'm a big data guy, right? And we look at me and my assistant. We sit down and look at our agents who are in our top 10 for our Mesa office,
Mm-hmm.
right? Who, and to kind of give you an idea, these are people who are constantly sending transactions to Empire West, where they say they're representing a buyer and said, hey, you know what, the next process is opening title and escrow. They ask their buyers, do you mind if we use this title and escrow company? They say yes. And so we measure it off that, like how many transactions they were able to direct to our office, right? And a lot of them are doing things right. I mean, a plethora of them, to be honest, because they use your guys' services.
Mm-hmm.
And these are people who are doing it right. And once you do that, it attracts more and more buyers leads, and these people, they look at it and they say, do you love your real estate agent? Do you love Max? Do you love Bryce Henderson? Yes, I love these guys. They're great. They go all out. They do everything right, kind of deal. And they are the ones who are the driving force to do it. I'm just that guy in the background who is a team member, right?
Sure.
I'm just there to help them out, right? They call me up and say, who do you recommend to do a video, right? Well, this is what we come across. Or who do you recommend for pictures? This is who we came across. And, just to make sure
just being a resource and kind of enhancing that experience and ultimately helps their perception.
Yeah, absolutely.
And enhancing them as professionals that they're earning their commissions.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about Empire West. What makes Empire West different than other title and escrow companies?
Yeah.
We know there's a lot of options, just like options in the real estate industry.
Yeah, great question. Empire West is the largest privately owned title company in Arizona now. So in 2015, we were ranked number 5th for title or for market share.
Mm-hmm. 2 years ago.
2 years ago. But see, that's kind of interesting. So it's a delayed. The reporting is delayed 1 year. So this year we'll get 2016.
Gotcha.
It's kind of strange. But so we're increasing in market share every year. So 2016 will be even bigger than 2015. And when I say privately owned, we're not one of the national chains, right? So we're not the Fidelities or
and then Fidelity owns so many of.
You have different ones. So the Chicago, they're all kind of sometimes.
So what is the advantage of using a privately held title company than going with one of these bigger guys?
So
is it kind of like on the lending side where you're working with the big bank and then you got the small guys that are more hands-on?
Absolutely. I think that's where it comes down to. It's where you're going to see a little more flexibility. I mean, obviously all within regulation, right?
Sure.
I mean, we're pretty sticklers on that. We want to make sure that we're still in compliance with what's out there in terms of regulation. But when you're working with somebody who's locally and privately owned, you have communication with the CEO, you have the vice president, stuff of that nature, who can help you out, right? I mean, when I can say, hey, I'm going to call the president of the company, I literally can call the president of the company, and then oftentimes he'll show up to meetings. And same thing with the vice president. He'll come to meetings and say, hey, let's sit down with these clients. What do they need? What can we add value to? Which is a big deal. And then not only that, but there's also reassurance that we also use great underwriters, right? So we're privately owned, but we have underwriters that are you feel safe saying, okay, well, they're writing our policy. It's going to be a good policy still.
Yeah, and I've used you guys a number of times, and I've always been impressed with the level of service. So obviously that makes your job a lot easier as kind of the sales guy or marketing guy, whatever you want to talk to yourself about, to be able to retain those customers from for long-term
Yeah.
use. So if somebody out there is watching right now and they're necessarily not happy with the title company that they're currently using or want to look at other options, how would they go about getting a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a website that I created. Once again, I work for Empire West Title Agency. We have multiple branches here in Arizona, all the way from Flagstaff down to Maricopa.
So Empire West is focused on Arizona,
correct,
specifically.
Yeah. We have 17 branches. So
wow.
Prescott, I mean, if you have clients up north, we can take care of anybody. And then we have a lot of branches right here in the valley. But I created a website that has my tools and resources with great companies like you, where after I meet with a real estate agent, they can go and they can say, hey, Seth was talking about a company that creates videos or does pictures and stuff of that nature. It's aztitleguy.com. aztitleguy.com, and then the phone number you can call me directly at is 602-361-9799. Then there's also the Empire West website, which is ewtaz.com. But AZ Title Guy, you can get a hold of me directly. You can shoot me an email at seth@aztitleguy.com as well.
You're making it easy here. So aztitleguy.com. This is Seth Banda, the man, the myth, the legend. Thanks for joining us today on Real Estate Pros, and we'll have you back on the show again talking about something more specific. So we appreciate you joining us on this episode, and we will see you guys on the next episode.
Love it, man.
Thanks, Seth.
Thanks, bud. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in, man. It was fun.